Carlo Ancelotti is going to leave Real Madrid at the end of the season to become the new manager of Brazil. So,
Carlo Ancelotti is going to become the new head coach of Brazil.
After winning 15 trophies at Real Madrid, including 2 Champions League titles, 3 La Ligas, and that legendary La Decimoquinta, Don Carlo Ancelotti has pretty much completed football. The man's trophy cabinet needs space management now.
Carlo is the most relaxed manager I've ever met in my life. One of the best people you can meet.
He wanted to pick our brains of, is this too much tactic for the players to do?
Yeah, Don Carlo, I think for me. Yeah, a fantastic manager. I think the first manager to win the Champions League 5 times.
However, instead of retiring to smoke his cigars, he's chosen the love of samba and managing Brazil, where winning is not everything, it's the bare minimum. With Neymar eyeing redemption and a squad full of flair, drama is guaranteed. So, why did Brazil hand the world's most demanding football job to a calm Italian? Stay tuned as we explore the weight of legacy, Brazil's tactical identity, and whether serenity can survive Samba's storm. Why did Ancelotti say yes to Brazil in the first place? To be honest, Carlo Ancelotti didn't really need this job. His legacy is engraved in European football, with 5 Champions League titles with 2 different clubs, and league trophies in all the top 5 leagues. At Real Madrid alone, he won 15 trophies across 2 spells. Most managers, well, they retire into punditry or private vineyards after such a haul, but not Don Carlo. He's chosen Brazil. But why? Well, the answer lies in what he hasn't done yet. Despite managing squads for almost 3 decades, Ancelotti has never led a national team, let alone the most iconic one. He once told La Gazzetta, "A World Cup is football's purest emotion. To win it, that's immortality." Brazil has offered him that chance now. More specifically, they offered it early. Ancelotti didn't even wait for his Real Madrid contract to end before the conversations about it. Brazil's federation, CBF, sealed the deal privately in mid-2023, while trusting Ramon Menezes as interim coach, until Carlo could arrive after the 2023-24 season. However, Ancelotti extended his contract again for 2 years, but Brazil never gave up the pursuit of having him. So, after a trophyless season at Madrid, Carlo accepted this challenge for various reasons. He's no stranger to Brazilian talent, from Kaká to Ronaldo Nazario, and now Vinicius and Rodrygo. Carlo has coached generations of Seleção stars. He understands the rhythm, the ego management, and the famous magic of South America. This transition from club to international football, well, it can be tricky, but we're talking about Don Carlo. His superpower isn't in-depth tactics, it's harmony. Few managers blend man management, tactical flexibility, and big stage calm like he does. That's exactly what Brazil needs at this moment, considering the situation they're in. The Seleção haven't lifted the World Cup in 2 decades, a lousy drought by their high standards. Let's rewind the story of their heartbreaks and make sure you watch the full video, because at the end, we'll break down his tactical plans to win the glory back for Brazil. But first, let's talk about what went wrong with Brazil, and can Ancelotti even fix it? Brazil's World Cup history reads like an unparalleled royalty, but recent chapters have been grim reading. The 7-1 humiliation in 2014, the limp quarter-final exit against Belgium in 2018, the frustrating penalties against Croatia in 2022. It was all a pattern. Brazil starts promisingly. They dominate until pressure arrives. Then they collapse like dead logs. The 2022 squad under Tite was arguably their most balanced in years. A mix of youth and experience, with Casemiro anchoring, Neymar creating, and Vini threatening from the left. But tactical conservatism strangled them. Against Croatia, Brazil lacked a plan B once the midfield got congested. Modric and co suffocated them in the middle, and the creativity was suddenly absent. So, what exactly went wrong? First, Brazil lost its tactical identity. Are they a pressing team, a possession team, a flair-first team? Under Tite, they hovered between styles without ever setting. Second, their player pipeline became too European. While players developed tactically in top leagues, Brazil lost some of its unpredictability, the magic, and the ginga that made them feared. Now they've called Ancelotti after a hard chase. We all know Don Carlo, who embraces systems but never overstructures his teams. He tailors roles to players, not players to roles. His Real Madrid, they played 4-3-3, at least on paper, but in practice it was a flowing shape. Vinicius always hugged the left touchline, while Endrick and Kroos dropped into build-up pockets. He always emphasizes giving players freedom and minimum involvement from the bench. This is the identity Brazil has lost, and it's the identity we expect Carlo to bring back, especially with their wingers. Then there's also the mental side. Ancelotti's calm, it has a therapeutic effect. This matters most in a country where football is practically a second religion. So, Brazil has the right man, but will he fit into the culture of Brazilian football, which has a history of destroying good coaches? This is where the real tragedy of the story begins. Is it culture clash or perfect match? Ancelotti will meet the Brazilian way. Brazilian football culture is actually a living and dancing contradiction. It demands flair, but condemns selfishness. It celebrates risk, yet it punishes failure. It wants Jogo Bonito and results. Anything less? Well, that invites national outrage. Ancelotti, with his express serene demeanor, is walking into a samba storm. But oddly enough, he might just be perfect for it. Let's start with the off-field chaos. Brazilian football politics are notorious. Club interferences, media wars, and a federation that is too volatile in decision-making. Ancelotti has a CV where most European managers would bristle. He's handled football powerhouses like Florentino Perez and Silvio Berlusconi. In comparison to them, Brazilian executives would surely feel a vacation. When we finally have off-field clarity, there's still a clash of rhythms. European football is tempo-controlled, and it depends on transitions. Brazilian football, that thrives on pure creativity, unpredictable runs, highly talented players, and yes, the occasional Rabonus in midfield. Ancelotti will have to balance that with tournament discipline, but if he can manage that South American magic with European discipline, Brazil can again be the most feared team in the world. The first hurdle for this alchemy would be the adjustment in training intensity. Brazilian camps, well, they're historically known for parties. More music, less video analysis, and play the game as you love to play. They dominated the world this way, but with the development of European football, they started to suffer with heat breaks. Ancelotti's challenge would be to revive the creativity of the 2002 squad, with the rhythm of Real Madrid's 2024 Champions League winning campaign. To do this, he has a wild card who's been chasing redemption since 2014. Is he finally ready for his last dance under Carlo's direction? Well, we should talk about Neymar's last dance, and can Ancelotti bring out his best?
Trying to find the spaces. And the...
Neymar, beautifully done.
Fez o giro. Neymar got himself into the most forward position as well. That was worth the admission.
Neymar is still Brazil's talisman, whether fans like it or not. At 34 by the 2026 World Cup, he'll be a veteran with one last shot at glory. Injuries, controversies, bad life choices, and unmet expectations, they've haunted his club and international career. Yet, despite the criticism, his numbers remain absurd. 79 goals in 128 appearances. He's the leading goal scorer in the history of Brazil. Ancelotti, crucially, doesn't just understand Neymar's brilliance, he's one of the few managers equipped to manage his contradictions. He won't restrict him with potential diagrams or overload him with defensive duties. Instead, he'll do what he did with Kaká at Milan and James Rodriguez at Madrid. Give them space, both literally and mentally. There's also a tactical advantage. Ancelotti's typical 4-3-3, it can easily morph into a 4-2-3-1, with Neymar operating as a free 10, floating behind a striker, connecting midfield with the wings. This role minimizes his running while maximizing his creativity. Neymar, contrary to his critics, thrives with structure around him. His best PSG and Barcelona form came when he had freedom on the flanks with disciplined midfielders. The challenge, though, is fitness. Neymar has missed over 100 games due to injury since 2019. Ancelotti's job isn't just tactical. He'll have to manage his minutes, protect him from unnecessary qualifiers, and make sure he gets the form of that Santos boy who made the top 10 of Ballon d'Or rankings without playing in the top 5 leagues. Vini Jr., Rodrygo, Endrick, the Real Madrid connection that could win it all. Despite all the huge differences, one obvious reason for accepting Seleção's job is that Ancelotti has prepared the Brazilian future with his hand. Vinicius Jr, Rodrygo and Endrick are the heart of their attack, and they all sharpen their blades under Don Carlo at Real Madrid. Moreover, he closely understands Rafinha as well, as he's played so many times against Carlo. That's an edge no previous Brazil manager has ever had. The evolution of Vini Jr from a raw talent into one of the world's deadliest left wingers, it happened under Ancelotti. Between 2021 and 2024, Vini's decision-making, defensive effort, and goal output all surged. At the 2022 World Cup, he still seemed unsure of his role. That won't happen again. Under Carlo, he'll be more fearless, confident, and tactically disciplined. Rodrygo's journey from a super sub to a big game impact player is far more interesting. Again, Ancelotti's confidence in the player was a big factor in his transformation. He can start right, drift central, or even rotate with Vini mid-game. That's the fluidity of Brazil we all loved and missed in the recent decade. Apart from Neymar in the Copa America's final of 2021, when he was unstoppable against Messi's Argentina and the half team had to take a yellow card to stop him, we haven't seen such impressive performances from Brazilian players in the recent past. Then there's Endrick, Brazil's teenage sensation. Ancelotti wanted him at Madrid, along with Mbappe, in the summer of 2024. According to Carlo, he hasn't seen many lower body players better than Endrick. His performances for Los Blancos this season, as a super sub and as a starter, were dazzling for a kid of that age. Though he has only spent one season under the Italian boss, the time will resume again as they will be reuniting in Rio de Janeiro. So, Ancelotti's real power is in chemistry. These players, including Casemiro, who is back in the national team after 1 year, and other top players of Brazil, they know Ancelotti's signals, his tone, and his tactical tweaks from bones. There will hardly be a learning curve, and this familiarity, it could be Brazil's secret weapon in knockout tournaments where time is limited. It's no longer just talent. Brazil has cohesion now. The question is, will that be enough to reach the promised land? Let's break down Ancelotti's plan for the sixth star and whether he's the man to pull it off. Let's take a look inside Ancelotti's Masterplan for World Cup glory. Winning a World Cup is as much about logistics as it is about legacy. Who knows this better than Ancelotti, who has 30 years of coaching experience and he's coached teams with different tactical identities? He'd be immediately at work, and he won't be treating qualifiers like friendlies, or he also won't be judging players solely on highlight reel talent. His strategy will be meticulous, tournament-tested, rhythm-built, and based on freedom given to the players. As we've already talked about how he can start a flexible 4-3-3 that may shift into a 4-2-3-1 or even a 4-4-2 mid-match, the midfield trio will likely involve an anchor in the form of Casemiro, a controller like Bruno Guimaraes, and a creative edge like Lucas Paqueta or João Gomes. The trio of Neymar, Vini and Rodrygo would be mouth-watering in front of the goal, but he will have choices of Rafinha, Antony and Richarlison as well, who are in top form with their respective clubs, so he'll have a lot of quality choices in the attack. Every fan and rival of Real Madrid knows that the substitution timing of Don Carlo is elite. The famous UCL run Real Madrid made in 2022, where they always won after conceding the first goal, was only possible because of a top-notch game and substitute management by Ancelotti. The psychological advantage that Ancelotti's teams don't panic would have helped Brazil in the heartbreak of previous knockouts. The next World Cup is exactly in a year from now, and if Carlo can instill this mental fortitude in Seleção, it would be their greatest weapon on the fields of North America. In a nutshell, Brazil hands the keys to a calm Italian monk in a footballing monastery of chaos. The mission is to win the World Cup, restore national pride, and silence 210 million critics. It should be Don Carlo if anyone can turn samba into silverware. But if he can't, well, they'll probably just blame unfortunate Neymar again.